Oh my, oh my, oh my. Pull my threads off. Oh, good morning. Here we are, November 12th, maybe. No, 2019. And, well, the dams are continuing with their trash, and the reports we get saying it's falling apart, you know, that their lies have already been uncovered, and they're trying to pull off a ruling without fair process, due process, trying to pull an impeachment thing off on the president and let the left or the president have any witnesses, anything at all. They're trying to ram it through like a socialist system, like the perverts they are, try to shove it through there and make American people suck it up. And you know what's really sad is you have thousands or if not millions of people out there that'll sit back and say, well, there's nothing wrong, but because they give me what I want, I give them what they want, and the whole friggin' thing is a lying, screwed up mess, and they don't care. They don't care. They'll sell out their families, they'll sell out their bloodlines, they'll sell out their communities, their counties, their states, their nation. They'll sell out anything and everybody as long as they get satisfied in what they want. Isn't that what Isaiah 32 verse 8 says about liberal thinking? It says the liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things he stands. He makes excuses for perversions, and then the people that live in those perversions support him or her. They give the perversions legitimacy, and then the people that live in this stuff, this godless, immoral rot, they support the person that gives them legitimacy. That legitimacy, that was the word God used when he was explaining it to me, when he was showing me some things here. Well, it's been a few years now. That was the word he used. Out of the blue, he spoke the word legitimacy to me. Just confirming what I've been thinking, what I've been reading, confirming it. But, you know, that's the thinking of the left. They don't care. They don't care as long as they get their cross rubbed just right, as long as they get their pride patted just right, as long as everything goes well for them, they'll sell out everything else. That's what was being said. The liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things he stands, or she stands. But like I said, they don't care. These people, they're just, you know, it's just like around where I live. And I know it's happening around some of you. You've experienced it too. People letting their children go nuts. I mean, just letting their daughters run loose, letting their sons run loose, not stopping anything. And then you get out there and you have women pregnant, kids end up on drugs, and all kinds of trouble going on, and this and that, whatever, just making excuses for everything. Making excuses. And it's not just that. There's things happens in families that good families that don't support that don't let that stuff go on openly and stuff, and they try to restrain things. But the thing about it is, once they step out your door, you know, everything out there is telling her she's got a pretty butt or this or that, and telling him he's a stud or he's this or that, whatever. And before you know it, this thinking's going on in their mind, and so we all face the problems. You know, the Bible says things fall upon the just as well as the unjust. We all deal with the same things. The thing about it is, I've told before, the thinking of the people's got to be, they have to be reprogrammed. Hey, listen, they took God out of the schools back almost 30, more than 30 years, almost 60 years ago, took God out of the schools, and now the godless, immoral thinking is running loose on the streets. Hey, godly, moral, conservative thinking never overpopulated the world. Liberal, excusive trash overpopulated the world. It wasn't godly, moral, conservative thinking. It was liberal, excusive trash overpopulated the world. You people that's backing these liberals, you have no argument. You have nothing. You have nothing. All you do is just a mouth running. I watch some of these entertainers and these liberal politicians and these people, and they're just a running mouth. Just a running mouth. That's all they are. Just a running mouth. Nothing there. Nothing there. No essence, man. No truth. No foundation. No substance. It's legitimate or reasonable. They're just a running mouth. Liberal thinking has no standing. It has nothing to confirm what's going on in its head. It has nothing. 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 But thanks be to godly and moral newscasters and stuff that are trying to do what's decent, like Fox and Cornerstone Institute and WND and Next News and the Black Conservative, and there's just a bunch of others. Mark Levin, Judicial Watch. Thanks to these people, we hear the truth. We hear an actual godly moral truth. Thanks to them, the lies of the liberals and the socialist scheming have been uncovered.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone.
Oh, they call and confirming my doctor's appointment. I guess that's all right. But thanks to conservative, godly, moral people that actually attain to truth and honor, that actually have a foundation of fair substance, thanks to them, the lies have been uncovered. So we see what's going on now. The thing about it is this, you know the reason these lying liberals, Schiff and Warren and Pelosi, and you know the reason, and Schumer's and the Clintons and the Muellers, the Obamas, you know the reason. Do you know why they're still walking the streets? Because ignorance has licked their butt. Simply because ignorance has licked their butt. No other reason. No other reason. If justice was actually being served, those people would have their clocks cleaned, man. They'd already been cleaned. But see, the lie had already been sung. The lie had been sung. When Donald Trump back in 2015 or 14, whenever it was, he He's threw his hat in the ring for the office of President of the United States of America. The lie was starting to weave then. When they found out he was actually going to do it, they started weaving their web, their lie. What was it David said in the Old Testament? The wicked plot behind closed doors to capture my soul. The liar, the schemer, the plotter, the cheater, the thief, the rapist, the murderer, the conjurer. They're back there trying to figure out how they can pee on me. That's what he was saying. They're back there trying to figure out how they can take advantage of me. I'm trying to do what is right, and the pervert is trying to pee on me. That's what David was saying. The wicked plot behind closed doors to capture my soul. Donald Trump said he's going to drain the swamp. He gets into office, man. He starts pushing for justice to come forward. These perverts and their incidents and all this stuff that's going on in their lives, the Hunters and the Bidens, the Reeds, the Pelosi's, their families, and how all this stuff was going on around Epstein and whatever else. All this stuff starts getting uncovered, and what they go nuts, man. They have to stop justice. They don't have a choice. They've got to see that justice is stopped. If justice is not stopped, they've had to lick. I seen something there a while ago. What was it? It's about billionaires. I think it's something about billionaires. Said it's 5 ways to become a billionaire, and he listed 5 ways, and they all sound crooked. They all sound crooked. Didn't sound good. At least that was Snoop's. I think Snoop's way of explaining how a billionaire becomes a billionaire in America. Snoop's. I'd put a post on there. I'd put them on there before that Elizabeth Warren had said maybe some American women need to be raped by Muslims. Or if American women are raped by Muslims, thank God for. Or I put it on there. I said maybe some American women need to be raped by Muslims to prove our tolerance or something or other. Elizabeth Warren had made a statement similar to that. At least that's what I had seen. Okay. Snoop's where I read this thing about that. Now they said they searched and said they couldn't find where Elizabeth Warren made a statement like that or something like that. I don't know, but some of you've seen it. If you have the proof, they send it to me, because it wouldn't surprise me, because man, you wouldn't believe some of the trash that comes off these liberal lips. It's unreal, man. It's unreal. Junk, just junk, man. Pure junk. The same lie that got Barack Obama into office, said he was born in Hawaii. Then he admits later he wasn't born in Hawaii, he was born in Kenya. Well, I lied. See, that people, you have to realize what these freaking liberals are willing to do. You have to realize what these socialists are willing to do to get their way, to get their power over you. You've got to realize what they are. You have to realize what they are willing to do to have their way. I could open up the Word of God and tell you what, but the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament, the book of Isaiah chapter 32 verses 5 through 8 says about the liberal, what they are willing to do, what they do, and what it does to the people that listen to them. I can open up to and read it to you. I hate to have to keep pulling it out, but it's a fact. God pointed it out to me after Obama got in office the second term. He pointed it out to me. I wasn't looking for it, man. I'm running up on it, and before I started reading it, he got my attention. Pay attention, John. Hey, John, listen up. I'm showing you something. Okay? Listen, the liberal will do some ugly stuff, man. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much ugly stuff they're willing to do. I'm trying to get you people to realize, I don't know how this election turned out down in Texas, or not Texas, but Kentucky. I hope the conservative gets back in office. I really do, because I don't want to see a liberal in office, period. After knowing what God has told me and showed me and what I've seen going on for the last, especially the last 10 years, I don't want a liberal in office, man. I don't want them in office at any level. And I'm going to read you something here. I'm going to read this so you'll know. It says the vile person will no longer be called liberal. That means the vile, the ugly, the cheat, the liar, the thief, the whatever the ugly vile stands for will no longer be called liberal. Now listen, this is where the word legitimacy comes in, okay? The vile person will no longer be called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person, the liberal person, the vile, the ugly, the cheat, the lying, the thief, the rapist, the person that is willing to go cross boundaries and harm and steal and from others at will, the vile person. The vile person will speak villainy. His heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments of the instrument also the churl are evil, the fool. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Okay? Now listen. But the liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. The liberal deviseth liberal things. The liberal, the lying, the cheat, the vile. He does he deviseth, he creates this kind of rot, cheating, lying, whatever. He creates this stuff, and by this stuff he stands. He gives excuses to those that commit those atrocities, and they support him. You know, so old four-eyed ignorant hillbilly with two teeth out of his smile. He's not blowing in the wind, man. I know what I'm telling you. I know what God's told me. I know what He's showed me. I know what I've seen for the last several years. I'm not blowing into the wind. These people out there, you know, I'll go a step farther than some people, and I'll go in and I'll talk about, you know, let's face this. There's people will talk to you about morality. But when you actually bring up the righteousness of God, their mind will, okay? Their mind just tilts because they can't handle the thought of an actual righteous God that loves them and lets things go on. And life has its problems. The thing about it is don't neglect the things of God and let those problems be multiplied. That's the thing. Don't neglect the things of God and be thankful, because when you do, the problems that are already in life are multiplied. There's people crying today. They're crying today. Their heart has been broken. But because they're not willing to trust God, they're miserable. They're not just heartbroken, they're miserable. They have no peace. We have to learn to be thankful. We've got to learn to be thankful. We've got to learn to give God thanks and praise. God told me several years ago, He said, John, praise will bring you out of any circumstance you go through. So, but we see all this trash going on in the liberal thinking and actions of minds. We see this stuff going on around Schiff and Pelosi, House Democrats and Congress Democrats, and you see all this stuff going on around these liberal socialist medias, and And in these schools that's been published this socialist rot for years and years and years. And you see all this stuff going on. And now look what they're trying to do. They're trying to just totally erase an American election. They'll say, well, the Constitution, our laws, all this stuff. They haven't kept the laws. They haven't kept the Constitution, and they're not doing it now. It's like Obama and others, They get out there and they do these speeches and they'll talk, well, we have the Constitution, keeps us in place, keeps everything running smoothly. And the very next platform they step up on, they're talking to a different group of people or whatever. And they'll turn around and say, well, the Constitution is antiquated, it's outdated, it needs to be updated, it needs to be changed. They use the laws as it suits them. They're lawless, they're liars, they're cheats, but they'll use what they can if it suits them. That is the problem with liberal thinking, people. That's the problem with them. Today they'll be patting you on the back. Today they'll be patting you on the back. Tomorrow they're jerking your little girl's panties down and making an excuse for it. I'm telling you, it's ugly, people. This is ugly stuff, man. Or jerking your little boy's briefs down. Like that's Rosie O'Donnell. All Byron Trump needs to be raped. A 12-year-old boy. Think about that. A popular face from Hollywood, from the entertainment world, a popular face says a 12-year-old boy, an innocent 12-year-old boy, needs to be raped. You think of that friggin' mess. Think of that. And then Robert De Niro and these others. It's pitiful, people, that's coming off these people's lips. Every damnable thing you can think of comes off these people's lips. Is friggin' liberals. Lying, liberal, excuses, socialist, talking points, and agenda. It's nothing but a boiling sewer. A boiling sewer. I've told you before, I'll tell you again. We've all went through the years. I'm 64 years old, going on 65 come August next year if I survive or live. And I've heard it for years out of people's lips. Oh, politics, ugly, 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 ugly. You don't go ugly. You get a man that runs for office, talks about the swamp, draining the swamp, and getting the political agendas out and doing what is good for the nation, getting justice brought back to the front, getting the leading of our forefathers of godly moral understanding brought back to the front, getting this stuff brought back up till we can get us back on a path that's less rocky and more walkable. And what do? They attack him. They attack him, man. They say, hey, he gets in office in less than 48 hours after him being in office. They start, we're going to impeach old mother of her. We're going to impeach him. We'll get rid of him. Get rid of him. Why? He going to tear up the party, man. They got rich. These people got rich playing their freaking godless immoral games. They got rich doing it. People bled, cried, and died, but they got rich. And now they want him out there, man. They see their world crumbling. Their world is crumbling. This swamp that they lived in and built around them is crumbling. Little by little, it's falling apart. It reminds me of a story in the Bible that Apostle Paul goes into this town, and he goes in there and he sees these people are given to idols. I mean, they got idols, gods. The idol represents a god, okay? But they got all these idols, and he said, man, he talks to them one day. He said, man, I see you people pretty superstitious. I see all these different things, but he said, I seen a subscription on an idol when I come in here, and he said it's talking about the unknown God, of which we are all his offsprings, what the subscription said on it. But he said, that's the God I'm talking to you about. We are all God's. We are all God's property. He said, that unknown God, that's the one I'm talking to you about. But see, this is the thing. Now listen, I'm getting to it. He says, that's the God I'm talking to you about. But see, what happened? They seen these people that were making these idols, these little figurines or little monuments or whatever they were making, and they'd gotten rich making this stuff. All the people had bought these things off of these craftsmen or whatever. They'd bought all this stuff, and these craftsmen had gotten rich. They seen their world crumbling. Listen to me. They seen their world crumbling. The swamp sees its world crumbling. These people that made this stuff and created, they see the world crumbling. And what do? They stir up the people. Oh, listen, we've worshipped these gods for years and years and years, and here you got this apostle Paul comes in here and he starts telling us you can't do all this. Now that ain't right. We are Athenians or something. Maybe it wasn't Athenians, I'm not sure, but he said we are Athenians and there's something. And he said, but he's just turned down everything we done. They stirred up the people, and they said for 3 hours, 2 hours and 3 hours, they done nothing but after they stirred the people up with just trash because their riches were being taken from them. Trash. The swamp of the time was losing its standing. Their wealth was going to be stripped from them. It's going to be cut off. Just like today, the swamp. Just like today, they seen the swamp being drained around them then. They're seeing it today. And what they do, they stir up the people. Oh, great is the goddess Athena. Great is the goddess Athena. Great. And I think it says for 2 hours or 3 hours, they screamed this stuff. They stirred the people up against the man that spoke truth to them. The same things happen today in the swamp. Donald Trump says, man, we're going to drain the swamp, and you can't do that. Listen, we have the Constitution, we got our laws, we got all this stuff. But they don't follow the laws, they don't follow the Constitution, they don't want to follow fair, honorable, just procedure. They don't do none of this stuff, but Donald Trump's evil. Oh, they stirred him up against Paul. They're stirring him up against Donald Trump. Oh, you can't follow that man. Oh, he's the most corrupt president we've ever had. You don't need to go on all this friggin' junk. Well, you like my show? You like my little show? You know what that noise was? That noise is where the tires were squalling on the road. Where the rubber meets the road and something's not working right. You know, they say, people talk about where the rubber meets the road. Listen, if you got a car and your tires are squalling when you go down a curve, that means your wheels are out of line. It means something's not functioning right. So it makes a noise. Pay attention to the swamp. It's making noise. It's making noise. It's not in line. It's not in line. It's making noise. It's got to stop. Justice. Justice has to be brought to an end. If it's not, the swamp gets drained. Their craftsmanship of political world and all this stuff is drained. It's making noise. Donald Trump's just trying to tell you, man, you need to take your vehicle to the shop and get the wheels lined. You need to get the wheels lined. You'll save you time, you'll save money, and you'll make it safer for you and your family to ride your car. Get your wheels lined. Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. But the swamp is making noise. The swamp is making noise. Its world is crumbling. Justice is knocking at its door. gonna get off here. It's my little. Let me bring my little. I talk about somebody my little liberal buddy here, my little socialist liberal here. He's in the summer, sunshine and snowman and walking the beach and enjoying the warm air and all this good stuff, which the numbers don't work, but it sounds good. It sounds good. The little old cold nature feller steps out in the 90-degree sun and summer, and the sand's about 115 degrees, and the air's 90, 95 degrees, and the old snowman's getting all warm and cuddly and everything. But for some reason, the cold nature snowman and the warm summer day don't match. They don't fit. They don't mesh. They don't jive. That's my little liberal socialist right there, man. That little critter, he's my little liberal socialist partner here. I give him fair time. He's on here as much as I am. He's on here as much as I am. The numbers don't mesh. I mean, they don't work. But you got to be fair. If you're not fair, what are you? Have a good one.